Okay, so if you're a student, a researcher, anyone in academia, you've definitely heard this before. You need to find a research gap. Sounds easy, right? But in reality, it can feel like you've been sent on an impossible quest to find a ghost in a library. It is, without a doubt, one of the biggest hurdles we all face.
And if you're sitting there nodding along thinking, yes, that's me, well, you're in good company. That feeling is everywhere, from Reddit threads to late-night study sessions. But here's the good news. There's absolutely a method to this madness. It's not magic, it's a skill.
So let's just get right into it. What we're going to do is take this big, frustrating hunt for some invisible gap and turn it into a concrete, step-by-step process. All we need is the right framework.
And here is the single most important mindset shift you need to make. You have to stop thinking about it as searching for a magical hole in all of human knowledge. That's way too intimidating. Instead, think of it as a systematic process of just analyzing what's already there. You're not looking for a void, you're looking for an opportunity.
So, to get started, we have to know what we're actually looking for, right? Because a research gap isn't just one thing. It's more like a whole family of different kinds of opportunities. And once you can name them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. That's right, there are 7 distinct types. We can take this giant, scary concept and break it down into 7 manageable categories. Suddenly, it's not a vague quest anymore, it's a checklist, and that's something you can work with.
And we have to give a huge shout out to researcher D. Anthony Miles, who laid out this amazing taxonomy. For instance, have you ever read 2 studies that totally contradict each other? Boom, that's an evidence gap. Or what about when you realize nobody has ever studied a specific topic? That's a knowledge gap. My personal favorite is the methodology gap, where you can say, hey, the way they studied this was flawed, and I have a better way. And of course, a really common and important one is the population gap, where you realize all the existing research only applies to one specific group of people.
All right, so now we know what to look for. The million-dollar question is, where do we look? Well, believe it or not, most academic papers actually have a treasure map hidden inside them, pointing you right to the gaps. You just need to know how to read it.
And this right here, this is the treasure map. Forget reading every paper cover to cover, at least at first. Go straight for these high-yield sections. Authors literally tell you what their study couldn't do in the limitations section. And the future research section? I mean, come on, that's them basically handing you a to-do list. A huge pro tip is to focus on systematic reviews. These papers do the heavy lifting for you by summarizing an entire field and spelling out the big unanswered questions. And just remember to stick to recent publications so you don't end up working on a gap someone else already filled.
Now let's shift gears a bit, because sometimes you don't just stumble upon a gap. Sometimes you have to actively build it yourself by looking at old information in a totally new way. This is where we move from being a passive reader to an active creator. And one of my favorite ways to do this is with a mind map. It's so simple but so powerful. You put your main idea in the middle of a page and just start branching out. What are all the related ideas? What are the different variables? Who are the different populations? When you lay it all out visually like this, you start to see these connections, and therefore these potential gaps that you would have never noticed just by reading.
And here's another really cool trick: reverse brainstorming. Instead of asking the usual question, how do we fix this problem, you flip it on its head. You ask, how could we make this problem even worse? Or how could we cause this problem on purpose? It sounds weird, I know, but by getting to the absolute root of what causes the issue, you often uncover a completely new angle for a solution. And that new angle? Well, that's your research gap.
Okay, you've spotted a potential gap. Awesome. But your work isn't done yet, not even close. A gap is just an observation. The really critical next step is to take that observation and sharpen it into a focused, answerable research question.
And when I say sharp, I mean it. Specificity is everything. Look at this example. Post-colonial literature in India. That's not a research project, my friend. That's an entire library wing. It's way too broad. But what about this? Post-colonial dynamics of historical representation in Rushdie's Midnight's Children. See the difference? Now that is a question you can actually research and answer.
Now, if you want a fantastic little cheat code for getting this kind of precision, especially in the health sciences, but honestly, it works for tons of fields, you have to know about the PICO framework. It's a simple tool that forces you to define the 4 most important parts of your question: the population you're studying, the intervention you're interested in, the comparison group, and the outcome you're measuring.
Let's walk through a quick example. Let's say your broad topic is something like vaping and quitting smoking. Okay, it's a start. Now let's apply PICO. Our population? Adult smokers. The intervention? E-cigarettes. We'll compare that against nicotine patches. And the outcome we care about is smoking cessation. Put it all together and you get this beautiful razor-sharp question. It's so clear, so focused, it tells you exactly what you need to do.
So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. A research gap isn't something you just find lying around. It's something you actively build. You build it with frameworks, with smart techniques, with critical thinking, and with a healthy dose of creativity. It's not a passive search, it is an active, intellectual construction.
So there you have it. You've got the map, you've got the tools, and you've got the framework. The only thing left to do now is start building. So my question to you is, what question will you ask?